Hello, once again, boys and girls, children of all ages. I am John Thomas, and welcome to another fun-filled edition, episode 176 of the JT Project, where I interview local bands and anybody who I find interesting. And today I have Swim the Current, and they're scattered all over the place, like the ocean. They're scattered all over the place. How are you guys doing, guys?
All right, how are you, John?
We're doing well, man. What's going on, brother?
Not much. Um, my first question, I always the opening question, I was like, how did the band come about, and how did you guys come up with the name?
Okay, so this band came out in a strange way, right? So, Greg approached me with producing Swim the Current to begin with, and asked me if I would, help him along the way in producing, his solo project and stuff. And I said, sure, bro, I'll do that. And then he had some candy in his pocket when he came down here. And he was like, listen, I'll give you some candy if you'll be a part of the band. And I was like, okay. So I got in his van, and then we I
Now
mean
here's the
it
here's
essentially it essentially did happen that way, to be honest with you. Like, I was supposed to just be a producer on this project, right? So
Right.
long story short, Greg, Joe, and I had actually worked on some Disciples of Verity stuff. They were, they were integral part of Disciples of Verity, and in the beginning, Greg was a part of Disciples of Verity, and Joe did some guest tracks on it, some solos. I had met Joe out in Nam, out in California. We were at the Nam show.
right.
So, we became friends, and I started checking out some of his stuff, and I was like, yo, he'd be really cool to have on some of his tracks. I reached out to him, and anyway, so it just happened, right? We were just three dudes who kind of just wanted to write some cool music together. We were going to get different singers, different people to play. We really like to jam with one another, and since Swim the Current was like a separate entity from Disciples of Verity, and it that whole thing just melded together, right? It was just a very no pressure, easy situation. And then we reached out to Marcos Leo from El Nino, and I reached out to him because I'm personal friends with him. I know him from the Shattered Sundays and stuff like that. So I said, yo, like we were doing all these separate singers and stuff like that, and just trying to make a really cool project, right? Just an
Mm.
internet kind of thing. And I said, Marcos, would you like to check out, some of this stuff and do it? And he was doing some guest features. And so Marcos was like, at first he listened to it and he was, pretty blown away by it. And he did that one feature, We Are Not the Same. And, the response was just so huge, right? We had like, I don't know, in like 3 or 4 weeks, we had 50,000 streams on Spotify, and YouTube was blowing up, and people were really responding well to the We Are Not the Same track. And Marcus and I had talked a little bit. We were like, oh, what do you think? What should we do with this? You know what I mean? The response is so crazy good. And so after kind of getting that response, and we had some more tracks, and he was really vibing on it, and the things, it just fell together, man. It just really just, it's that chemistry that you can't, you know, um, you can't, really find easily. It just all happened, right? And Chris Moore, um, he and was supposed to be like a guest on one of the tracks too, and then just he really liked it so much he wanted to join the band too. So I mean, we're just five dudes who really love to play music, and
Right.
that it just happened, organically, and so now we're doing a whole record, and we again, we weren't looking for a singer. I don't necessarily think we were looking for a singer. We were just looking to do some cool stuff. And I don't think Marcos was necessarily looking for a band. You know what I mean? Another
Right.
band. And it just the chemistry was too deniably good that we just had to
Mm.
continue doing what we were doing. And now, we're writing a record. I went down to Texas like 3 weeks ago and did two more songs with Marcos vocally. So we got those in the can waiting to happen, and then we're going out to Indianapolis to work with Sahash Tikkanen, of the band Ra, and he's a vocal producer. He produced, I don't know, he got some Bad Wolves, Nothing More, Motley Crue, a whole bunch of people. Anyway, so we're going to work with him on Wednesday to go do 3 or 4 more tracks, however that works out, and we're gonna get a record going, man. I mean, Solo's been taking off too. It's just actually mind blowing to us.
Yeah.
It's up on the charts every week, and the streams are insane again, and the response has been phenomenal. So we just
Yeah.
need to keep chugging along.
Now, is Marcos gonna be are you gonna look for new singers to play on every track, or it's just gonna be that one?
This is the lineup, and it's not going to change.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, this is it. We, like I said, we didn't necessarily intend to get a singer,
Right.
nor was Marcos looking for another band. But we can't deny what we have chemistry with
Mm-hmm.
and what the people perceive of the band at this point. It's actually blowing up way more than any of us ever expected. You know what I mean? So
Wow. So, with this album that you're producing and all that, when can we get our Grammy little pause on it?
well, I mean, right now we are definitely trying to shoot for another single in another, say, 4 or 5 weeks.
Hmm.
Dropping another single, and getting the ball rolling on dropping a record by the end of the year. I mean,
Oh.
so we're with the TLG Zoid Virgin,
Mm-hmm.
and
Right.
they definitely want an album out of us now. So but it is kind of like a no pressure situation. Like when we feel we're 100% ready with it is when we'll roll it out. But we're looking to get a record out this year. Definitely. Things have been moving fast, like super fast.
So
So
so I'm assuming that you guys never played live. You're now like just in the studio and all that. So it's basically like word of mouth and social media. Have you guys played any live? You haven't played live.
That
What?
that's what's funny about the project, right? Because we actually started writing songs during the whole COVID, lockdown thing. So we all have kind
Hmm.
of our own home studios, and we would just, swap files back and forth, and George would mix everything, and it was really just kind of like George said, something for fun. We didn't really expect it to take off like this. We knew the songs were great. We loved them, but we loved them, just because you love your songs doesn't mean other people are going to love them once you put them out there. So we're kind of taken back by how quick things took off and the response and everything. But the funny thing is, when we shot the solo video, that's the
Hmm.
first time all 5 of us were in the same room together. That was
Wow.
the first time. So yeah, we haven't played live, but we definitely want to play live. But it's just this group started like in such a different way than most bands typically start.
yeah, we didn't do the sit in a garage and rehearse and write these songs that way. It just didn't
Right.
happen. You know what I mean? Like I said, Greg came to me to produce the songs at first, and then me and Greg just vibe so well together as far as writing in the same room, that, that's kind of how this things gets rolling. You know what I mean? It starts with Greg and I, and writing, riffs and stuff like that. And when we send it on from person to person, it goes to Joe, it goes to Marcos, and probably Chris last. Actually, yes, it goes to Chris last. But it's just a process, you know what I mean? So no, we've never played in the same room together. We've never turned our amp on next to one another. I've seen Joe play, on the internet.
Right.
I've seen Chris play on the internet, and they've seen me play and Greg play so on the internet, and we Greg and Joe have seen me live, but I think other than that, it's we know we could play. We're not worried about that. You know what I mean? That's
Right.
probably the easy gravy part about it. And like I said, everything's been so organically happening so fast and clicking so good that it's just, we can't wait for that. That's gonna be the gravy on top. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's like.
So let's talk about you talk about Solo, which is your latest single, and you produced a video for that. So just walk me through, what was that song about?
Well, I mean, this was the thing that, and I don't mean to talk so much and really grab the stage away from these guys, but so that song right there is a cover from Coetzel. So Marcos approached me. He said, "Listen, man, I really want to do a country cover." And now we had just finished "We Are Not the Same," right? And which is totally not country. Okay, it's a hard rock. It's a hard rock metal song, right? So he says, "I want to do a country show," and I was like, "Yo, bro, I'm not really sure. That's not really in my wheelhouse. Like, I don't, I've done covers before, like that in Disciples of Verity and stuff." And rewritten covers, and I really like to do it a certain way where I feel like that actually it sounded a little intriguing to me and challenging. You know what I mean? Where I was like, "All right, challenge accepted." Like, send me some tracks. Who do you want to do? What do you want to do? Now, the artist he sent me, I'm not going to lie to you, and I won't lie to everybody else out there, right? I'm not a country guy. I'm not a country fan, and I'd never even heard of Cole Wetzel before this song. You know what I mean? So he sent me a bunch of tracks, and I started listening religiously for like 2 weeks, and I didn't say anything to him. I didn't even get back to him for 2 weeks. I was just hammering away at listening to the tracks and figuring out in my head which one I could do something to that people would relate to, you know what I mean? And be able to translate to a hard rock type country aspect, right? And really try to, get it in my head and get that mode going, because I'm like, I need to get in that kind of mode and mood, like really think about things when I'm producing them. And so it took me 2 weeks to decide which one. And now I'm gonna lie about that. I'm lying about that a little bit. So it actually took me about a week or so, and then I decided which one. And then Greg and I got together, and I said, "Okay, this is the one. This is what I want to do." Blah blah blah. I got the ideas in my head on where I want to go with it. You know what I mean? How I want to make it sound. And I started fucking around with it. And then we said, within 2 weeks, Marcos had the track, and Joe had the track, and Joe turned it into, got that country vibe going, man. It just worked out great. But anyway, it's a cover song, and we turned it into our own. You know what I mean? And that's really the formula right there, right?
I mean, you knocked that one out of the park. I mean, I'm listening to that song religiously. I was like, and I don't know anything about country, and I'm like, oh well, okay, that's cool. If you didn't tell me it was country, I would be like, oh, they just developed this song, they wrote this song, they did this. I didn't know it was a cover from a song. So, I mean, you said that Marcos wanted to do a country song. What was the vibe on you guys? Like, let's go around the room and find out what was you guys' reactions
I didn't know.
about the,
Because if you listen to the original versus what we did with it, it's like it's night and day. I mean,
okay,
it doesn't sound at all like the original. And when I first heard the original, I didn't know what George wanted from me. So I started thinking, does he want me just to like duplicate? Because I play a lot of like, lap steel guitar. So there's like a pedal steel intro in there. And I said, George, do you want me to just mimic that and play that on the lap steel? And he says, no. He's like, I want you to make it your own, do something totally different. So I was like, okay. So, just went to the drawing board, started messing around with stuff. And rather than play it on a lap steel, I did it with an electric guitar. And I kind of mimicked the slides of a lap steel or a pedal steel with a tremolo bar, like, so it basically sounds like you're sliding, but it's all done with the tremolo bar. So I sent that to George and he liked it. And then the solo, was just like totally heavier. And I think the only thing that we might have done that was like the original is one of the producers asked me to actually do an acoustic track throughout the whole song. So there is acoustic in there, but it's really tucked back low. Mix,
right?
But it is in there. And I think that's probably the only thing we did that was like more like the originals, that one acoustic track. But everything else
Yeah.
is just like we kind of made it our own.
Wow, unbelievable. I mean, so you had a song, like you said, it was night and day. We're not the same. I was like, when you did that song, and then you go into a country, then you went into a country song. I was like, how did that now again take me back, take me how that song came about. We're not the same.
That was
Me,
George
go
and
ahead.
Greg. No, I mean George and Greg write all the, they basically write all the music, all the rhythm tracks and everything, all the chord progressions, and then that's kind of like our process. They get that down and then they send it out. I'm usually like the second person, I guess, that they send it out to, and then I start just adding a lot of stuff like fills and guitar solos, keyboard tracks, like ambient tracks, just to kind of fill it in and give it a little bit of a broader texture. But they wrote that song, sent it to Marcos, and when we heard his vocals, we were like, it's amazing, but we heard this thing in his voice because if you're familiar with his other bands with El Nino and everything, it's a lot of the heavier screaming stuff. But Marcos has like this incredible like singing voice where he can sing these really good melody lines and nice harmonies. And when we heard that, we're like, this is exactly what we're looking for, in a singer. And thankfully, he was on board and ultimately wanted to continue working with us after the success of that one. But he is a Texas guy and he has this love and passion for like country music.
Right.
That was really kind of his idea of to like kind of do something country, but like make it our own so that it's almost like a new kind of genre of country. We call it like country metal, because it's still heavy, but yet Marcos is singing and he's got, all I can say is like his voice to me, if you hear some of the biggest country artists, I think his voice, his singing voice is right there with all of them. And as soon as I heard him sing like that, and as soon as we heard him sing so low, we knew like this is something special and you got to pursue this and you got to take it farther.
Now, would you be would you open up for a country band?
I mean, let's take a look at some of the some of the big festivals that are going around this.
Right.
Welcome to Rockville. So you got bands like, I don't know, Slipknot playing with Jelly Roll.
Right.
The country guy, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
You have Co Wetzel is actually on Welcome to Rockville this year.
Really? Wow.
Florida.
Okay.
So why wouldn't we? We would.
Yeah,
It's
that
kind
would
of
be
like there's a cross pollination that's going on here that people have to pay attention to.
Right.
You know, and I'm sure that a lot of people too do, right? Jelly Roll was the first artist to ever be #1 on the country charts and #1 on the active rock charts in the
Right.
same week. Okay.
Yeah, because
Not that
I've been seeing a lot of I mean, of course, Jelly Roll is like the main one. There's another girl out there. She calls her she's like country Royal Lynn. She's
yes.
like punk tree punk. She calls it what is it, punk tree? I guess something like that. I was like, I don't mind seeing her on you know, going to one of her concerts or anything like that. But now let's talk about like the future of Swim the Current. I mean, I know that you guys are developing an album. Hopefully it'll be out this year. What else do you have coming out? Like what do you see in the future in the next couple of in the next, I would say, 3 years?
Well, I mean, like I said, we'd like to get this record out there this year, and we'll continue on writing and continue on doing what you know what we do to build the brand, to build the name, and build the following, and you know, hopefully by the end of the year, we get some shows under our belt. I mean, I know we've been loosely talking about somewhere in September or October later this year that we'll, you know, get some time on the road, hopefully, you know, and you know, we really want to build it into something, uh, you know, big because I think that again, it's just the response has been so overwhelming. I think on all of us, we're pretty blown away by the response that we feel like it needs to get out there and have justice given to it. You know, we'd be doing it an injustice by not.
Right.
The last two songs, you know, with Marcos on vocals, it put us in a different place with a broad range of people. Like some of the older stuff, like people would listen to it and like, you know, it wasn't that they didn't like it, but it was more of not as diverse of an audience that liked it. These last two songs, it's like regardless of who hears it, we've gotten nothing but positive feedback from everyone. People that like metal, people that like country, it doesn't matter. Like they all just think it's great, you know? And we kind of felt like, okay, now we finally all the pieces fell into place. You know, Marcos was that last piece vocally that we needed. And that was what we envisioned always, you know, for this band as a singer like him that can do the heavy stuff, but that can also sing really strong and have good vocal melodies and harmonies. Like that's what we always wanted from day one. And he just fits the bill perfectly, you know? So we're just,
Awesome.
yeah, we're just over the, you know, just,
I mean, it sucks he's a Cowboys fan, but
that's the only bad thing.
Hey, I'm a
you
Cowboys
know,
fan. What the hell? I was
whoa,
like, not
whoa,
everybody
whoa.
could be perfect. Not
Yeah,
everybody can be perfect.
George's hat.
I mean, well, George is also a Ranger fan, but I gotta give him credit.
Not a Rangers fan either.
No, I'm a Ranger fan. Yeah, I'm a Ranger
there you
fan,
go.
and I'm basically, you know, if I had to pick, like what team would be, I was like, I grew up a Ranger fan, Van Beesbrook and Brian Leach and all those guys. So
Easy.
yeah, I'm yeah. Um, so I know you guys like to like music is your passion and all that. Now, downtime, if you have any downtime, is there anything else you like to do? Like
Greg,
hobby?
Greg, this is a
Yo.
question for you, bro. You got to answer this question.
All right, I'm here. Hold on.
All right.
Let me get my glasses on. I can't say.
He, he was doing some lumberjacking.
Oh, lumberjacking.
Yeah, he's a
Yep,
lumberjack.
I'm a lumberjack. Yep, and I do. I play backgammon and I race RC cars on the side. So I do a lot.
Wow,
Yeah,
unbelievable. That's
yeah.
kind I always wanted to do slot car racing and all that. Just
It's
to get
fun.
in that. Another field that my wife would love me to do.
Well, Greg got his passion actually from his uncle who owned a penny arcade in Nova Scotia. Tell him
Yeah.
about that.
Yes, it was like actually it was many years ago. My uncle he owned a penny arcade in Nova Scotia, and he would donate all the proceeds
Mhm.
to myself, my family, and to my friends. And I would actually just go out to many shows and like buy beers for my friends. And I would actually put all the pennies in a plastic bag, and I pay for my beers at the bar that way, and it was fun.
Wow. Oh,
Yeah, because you
okay.
count it count like imagine counting $7.95 at pennies. You know what I'm
Wow.
saying?
Right. Because I'm
Right.
originally from Nova Scotia and Scottsburn. So what happens is from that way we would put actually everything in a plastic bag,
Right.
Ziploc, and we would carry them and
Wow.
donate pennies to the world.
Wow.
Greg
That's
also
kind of
Greg
cool.
Greg also bought his first rifle for caribou hunting with the pennies from the penny arcade.
I
Then
sure
you,
as hell did.
now you're opening up a whole other can of worms about how we've had a lot of success in Belarus.
Oh yeah,
Yep.
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 Belarus has
Belarus.
been
Yeah, we're very familiar with that.
The
Yeah.
people in Belarus actually labeled our music as a whole new genre. They call it post-nacho metal. And we had never heard of that before. But we did end up going on a little bit of an expedition there because
We did.
I would have to say all of us are avid fishermen in this group, specifically halibut, giant halibut. And we did go there, and we did play our music for the fine people of Belarus, and they loved it, and the feedback has been unbelievable. So we have to give a shout out to Belarus, and hopefully this
Yes.
Viva la Belarus.
Viva la Belarus. That's right. Viva la Belarus.
But post metal nacho was like something we had never heard of. That's what it's translated into English, but that's what they call our music. And I'm like, hey, as long as you like it and you listen to it, that's fine. I'm cool
You
with
can
that.
pull whatever you want. So I have a couple of questions. I have I don't think I did this with George and all that, but when I had him on with Disciples of Verity, um, I I have random questions that I call the dog bowl. I come up with random questions, so if people have random questions, would you answer a couple of them if you don't mind?
Sure.
All right. Let me get my, well, it's actually a fishbowl, which I actually stole from my wife, but whatever. It is what it is. Oh, here's one. Do you take pictures of your food?
I just did today when I was at my buddy JD's house and
Yeah.
we ordered a grandma pie. So and the
Oh, wow.
grandma pie looks so good. So I had to take a picture. Yes. Joe, what about you?
I just eat it. I don't look at it.
Yeah, yeah, that's
Actually,
good.
I got to give a shout out. I just got back from Miami. I played a cover show down there this week, and we went to a Mediterranean Greek restaurant right by the hotel, and it's probably like the best food I ever had in my life. That I probably should have taken a picture of because it was phenomenal. I don't think I've ever had a meal like that in my life.
Yeah, I have certain people that,
I do it differently. I take pictures of my food after I kill it.
yeah, okay, all right. I got you on that one.
That's just the way I go.
The next question would be I'm assuming everybody drives. Do you carry napkins in your glove box?
I actually do
Who
have.
who doesn't?
I do.
If you don't, there's something
Yeah.
wrong with you.
Let me-
I do, but I mean sometimes I don't. I just use my seatbelt.
okay.
Napkins in
And
a
that,
napkins in a Smith and Wesson. That's in my.
Smith and Wesson, yeah. I don't know. If you're playing Monopoly, what is your go-to game piece?
No, I don't understand the purpose of Monopoly. Nobody wins. It's just
No.
you know how you win Monopoly? Everybody gets exhausted and quits. Like there's no
Yeah.
winner.
Or they flip the board over.
Well, I look at it
Yeah.
that way too. I mean, like 1 times 1 equals 1. That's actually wrong. Like 1 times 1 should equal 2. But mathematics is wrong. But backgammon is actually the way to go.
Okay. I gotta learn how to play that. Oh, here's one. Do you have more socks or underwear?
Mm. See, I'm weird like that. Like I got a lot of underwear and a lot of socks, man. I buy socks all the time. There's nothing better than a fresh pair of socks.
Now,
I don't wear socks. My feet smell, so I put like the laundry, the Bounce laundry detergent
right.
that you put like into the dryer. I just put them into my shoes and I wear no socks.
Ooh. Well,
Sounds legit.
that sounds legit. That sounds legit.
Yeah.
It's
All right.
legit. I mean, there's a specific way you have to fold the Bounce, laundry, whatever things into your shoes, in order for them not to be or to feel uncomfortable.
Greg has a real pet peeve for static electricity. So it has like a huge assortment of Bounce fabric softener sheets. And
Yeah.
Yeah, the fabric softener sheets. Yeah.
does have a halibut flavored one or scented one as well.
well, they have to smell like fresh kill with a little bit of scent.
Yeah, Viva
No,
la
or-
Belarus.
Viva Belarus.
Now, here's a question. Because since I work in a like a supermarket, I can't say what the thing is, but it rhymes with the yams. It rhymes with the word yams.
Okay.
Mm.
Clams.
Clams?
Yeah. Sam's.
Like
Now,
Okay.
Sam's, yams, you know what I'm saying.
Sam's,
Yeah,
yams,
yeah.
clams.
Clams and all that. If you're out and about with a shopping cart and all that, do you put it back in the corral?
No,
Anybody else?
I do.
I leave it in the parking lot for other cars to hit it.
No, I do.
okay.
I do. I'm
No,
actually.
I bring it back when I shop at the dollar store because I go there
Yeah.
all the time. I bring it back, but I'm sure to slam it back in so everybody knows that I put it back in correctly.
And
okay.
he announces himself as he does it. I'm putting it back in.
Boom, shakalika. Yeah, I go boom
Yeah.
shakalika. Then I'll get like a dollar store balloon and like suck the helium out of it.
Yeah, it sounded like Alvin the Chipmunk putting the card back.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah. So last question, before we head out. What now, when you guys get settled and all that, now the question that I give to all the bands who I interview, I was like, what band would you want to open up for, past or present? Any band.
biggest-
I would. Yeah, go ahead, Joe. Go ahead, George. I'm sorry.
I mean, I think this gives us an opportunity to really broaden that spectrum. The kind of music that we play. So I think that the biggest metal band on the earth is Metallica. So that would definitely have to be one.
Okay.
I would go with
Metallica.
I would go with 3. I would go with either Journey, Hardy,
Mm.
or Beartooth.
Oh, that's okay. I gotcha.
Someone
What
that's
about you, Ju?
past or like can it be bands that are long gone or does it have
Oh
to be-
yeah, it could be anybody. You could play with Led Zeppelin if you wanted to.
So Greg, I didn't know you like Journey. I actually opened up for Journey, so that one's already off my bucket list.
Wow, I did not know, dude. I had no idea. That's awesome.
So for me, it would be Jimi Hendrix, man.
Oh,
Mm,
yes.
Okay, that's a new one. I haven't heard that one in a while.
Wow.
Actually, I don't think since I've been given that question to bands, I was like, that's the first time that anybody said that. Pretty cool and all that. So basically, we already answered this, and so we were talking off air. George, I was like, I know you have, like, this is your third band. I was like, how can you keep everything together? I was like, I know that, Negative Sky is different than Disciples of Verity and this band and all that. Have you ever played a song from another band on another band's album? No.
Nah, no. I mean, there's no need to, right? I mean, first of all, for me, they're just so monumentally different than one another. It's
True,
that's how I separate it. There's no sense in me as an artist, in my opinion, trying to make three lateral moves. You know what I mean? Um,
Right.
I feel like I want to spread the playing field, and me personally, as a writer, as an artist, as a producer, I really like to delve into different areas. You know what I mean? And for me, each one is so different than one another that it's easy to separate. You know what I mean? Separate in my head, separate on my playing, separate in my engineering. You
Plus,
know of it.
they're his favorites. He tells us we're his favorites. He tells disciples they're their favorites. George loves us.
You know what? It's easy for me to be in all of these bands. You want to know why, John?
Why?
Because they're all cool guys who are great players, man. And it's easy to be in any of them because there's no. We have fun. It's about
Yes.
music. It's about camaraderie. We're friends. You know what I mean? So in every one of my bands, I love all those guys, man. And they're all like family to me. And each separate one is a different family. You know, and we have
So
good dynamics.
yeah. So where can they why don't you plug your social media? Where can they find Swim the Current right now?
I mean, just Google Swim the Current. It's available everywhere. You know what I mean? You can go Spotify, you can go Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, what else? Deezer, you know, what just hit the Google machine, type in Swim the Current, and you will
Yes,
see
indeed.
available everywhere.
Well, basically, all the links will be down in the show notes when this podcast gets released. And guys, I'd like to thank you for coming on. George, I will see you probably this Saturday. I will be in Asbury Park. And anybody, anything you have to say before we call it a day?
Thank you, man. Thank you for
Yeah, thanks for having us on.
Thank you for
All
having
right.
us on, and rock on Belarus. Yeah.
Yeah,
Thank you so
there you
much.
go. Belarus in the house. I'm
Yep.
gonna tag
Asbury
them
Park.
Edward says thank you.
and Edward says thank you and all that.
And for a final
Yes.
a final thought, let's fucking go Rangers, bro.
Yeah, there you go, Rangers.
Here we go.
Okay, guys, I am John Thomas. This is the JT Project, and like I say, like I always say, come get me, Sweet Pea. I am done. Bye bye now.